Hello, welcome to this week's Catch of the Day with myself, Ben Forte, Director of Learning Commons.
And me, Daniel Shahin, the Assistant Director of Learning Commons.
Okay, so this week we're going to talk about Google's Education on Air event, which is on Friday and Saturday next week. We'll be presenting on the Saturday, talking about how to deploy Google Chromebooks into education, how simple that is. So tune in on Saturday around 4 o'clock. If no one's looked yet, if you go onto the Education on Air website, educationonair.withgoogle.com, if you look through there, you can see all the different events that are going. They've all been categorized into like educators, administrators, IT. If you scroll down.
And you said it's Friday and Saturday, didn't you?
Yes, there's a 2-day event, so you can explore conference day 1 and day 2.
I'd really advise going on, guys. It's loads and loads. It's going to be loads of good stuff going on over the weekend, so just tune in whenever you can. I mean, like you said, the timetable's there and there's stuff going on across all different subjects. So just tune into what you want, guys. Pick it up when you want and just enjoy.
Yeah, I think there's like over 100 people speaking at it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and from all over the world as well. So it's going to be quite an epic event, I think, really. But yeah, if you go onto the page, find the talk you want to look at, and then you'll be able to just click there and link to the sessions, and you can watch that live on this page. I think this page will actually have the videos in it, if I remember correctly. What I was going to quickly talk about is a blog post that I wrote, which has come from the fact that we're doing this Education on Air, and that was that we got introduced to a chap called Andy Craig from a company called Elevator Speech, and what he does is professional, teaching people how to be a better presenter, how to present themselves better. Him and his partner have written a book called Weekend Language, and it's all about like the fact that you tell stories at the weekend and it's more engaging, and that's how you can do better presentations if you use some of these features. So I just wrote a quick review on the book that Google sent to us for us to read beforehand, and actually we were lucky enough to do a Google Hangout, actually get some hands-on experience and learn from the pro.
Just to give you an idea, like these guys are actually like employed by probably the top 15 companies in the world. I mean, like if you go onto the website and stuff, or if you do get a chance to read the book, it goes through some of the companies that they do work with. They're employed to come in and teach from their top executives right down through how to present properly. So, or presentation technique. So it just gives you the sort of idea of how good these guys really are and how valuable that information can be.
Yeah, they run through things. They're things all about this story, isn't it? Where the STOR, they all stand for things. So S is suspend PowerPoint. They tell people don't get rid of PowerPoint forever, or presentations. Basically, they use the word PowerPoint, but it's a presentation.
Yeah, any presentation.
So presentation software, lots of people use that as the basis of their presentation. So first thing they do, put together all their slides for their presentation, not think about the narrative and what you actually want to get across first.
Base their presentation around the slides that they've created, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, put too much into them. So put all the information in the slides, and I was guilty for this myself. I used to quite often put everything in the slides so that at least afterwards, if people didn't make it, you could just share the presentation with them, and then they can see all the information. But they tell you can do that, but just hide those slides when you actually are presenting it, so that you don't have to overload people.
So when they say suspend PowerPoint, they suggest that your organization or just you yourself actually dismisses PowerPoint completely for 30 days. Just give a 30-day, 1 month free of PowerPoint. Yeah, that just gets you into the role of things. That's what they suggest, and I actually think it's a really cool idea. Yeah, something I might try and give a go.
Yeah, just makes you rely on the fact that you know what you're talking about a lot more, and you're not using your PowerPoint slides or whatever slides you're using as your trigger for what to talk about. So the T then in story is tell a story. So that's what they really want you to do in good presentation, and you'll see this from any presenter you go to. If you watch any TED Talks or anything like that, all the guys are telling good stories, good anecdotes, good things that go along which reinforce what they're going to talk to you about. And
it goes back to the whole name of the book, the Weekend Language. When we are at home, when we're not in the workplace, we talk this, like you said, this simple narrative that we are just telling stories to each other. We chat, we joke. And that's what they're trying to get you to do. That's a sort of format they want you to present in. They're suggesting that you approach presentations in that style.
Mm-hmm.
So it's T for tell a story.
Yeah. Then O goes on to organise your narrative, something which we don't do for this. We sit here now, we've picked a topic but thought nothing about what we're going to talk about in the topics. So that's bad. And that will lead to things like they say of ums and ers, and you see people going, like thinking about what they're going to say next. That's because you haven't organised your narrative and you don't know what you're going to speak about. So it's important to plan what you're going to speak about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early on in the book, they recall a guy they went to watch present, and he ums 300 times during the presentation.
Yeah.
300 times. It's you never realise when you're doing it. It's something that I'm guilty of sometimes. And what they say is that is just down to organising your narrative. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
I never noticed it at all myself until I recorded a small video of myself last weekend and watched it back. I was like, why do I keep saying Oh, thanks, mate. So yeah,
that's what I realised when I record myself. Who's that handsome chap right there?
So they also talk about like organising your narrative. They talk about this theory of so what, who cares? Where you've got to use that question of like, what everything you're saying, it's so what, who cares? Like, what's the point of what you're saying? Do you want to do the next one?
Remember, Mehabber.
None of us are sure how you pronounce this, but it's remember Maharabian. Maharabian?
No, yeah? I could go with that. Okay, let's go with that. I'm not going to repeat it. But...
So, yeah. Remember Harabian. And he was a doctor, and he carried out like a famous study on how vocal and non-verbal communication can account for as much as 93% of understanding. So the use of pauses.
Yeah, hand gestures, facial expressions, body language, and how important all of that stuff is. And like I said, it builds up 93% of the message understanding, which is, I mean, it's truly, I mean, before I read that, it's like, that's incredible. I mean, which is really, again, one of the founding points they actually base this whole book on. Their whole ethos is based around that research, really. Yeah.
And then the final point is why for you must prepare. So basically that's what we say. We talk about organize your narrative, but you must prepare. You've got to practice on your own, practice in front of small groups, practice in front of a mirror.
Record yourself, do a quick recording, watch yourself over again. I mean, sit there. It's completely up to you how you prepare. Everyone prepares in different ways. So I mean, again, we're not going to try and tell you how to prepare or the best way to prepare, but what they're saying is you need to prepare. So however that might be, whatever you decide to do it. I mean, stand there, like you said, in the mirror, reading lines, cue cards, until you know. If you know what you're presenting, it will come across the way. Yeah. Whereas if that's when, like, going back to the ums and ahs, when you go back to that scenario when you don't know and you're actually not sure what the next sentence is, you stand there and go, and that's just what it's all about, really.
And Andy talked about just don't be scared to just pause. Like, you can pause. Don't need to stand and go,
And they're just saying there's the power of a pause as well is something they draw on. So they actually advise you to pause. So if in your mind you can even prevent yourself from saying the ums and the ahs and just pause. Every time you want to say just take a breath. They say the power of the pause is great. So, but then also the power of the pause in the correct places. Yeah. There are lots of advances on that, but as a starting point, maybe if you could just replace the ums and the ahs with a pause. Yeah. It's just maybe getting into good habits and getting out of bad habits. It's something that we all do. So
don't pause for too long. You know, he's stood on the stage for 10 seconds, silent.
You might hear some snoring.
So tune in next Saturdays when all the presentations are happening. I think the Fridays when they're actually got like panels where you can ask questions and there's different people doing keynote speeches and stuff. But on the Saturdays when actually everyone that's educators and technology online doing all their presentations. So next we're going to do a little bit of DHSB promote housekeeping. We ran a little promotion in our Learning Commons a little while ago to give away a Samsung Galaxy tablet, and we've never got round to doing the live draw. We were supposed to do an assembly this week, but we weren't available. So we thought, well, we'll raise the profile. We'll do it live today on our Catch of the Day video. So switch over the screen to our random name picker, which we have got courtesy of Alice Keeler on Twitter. She's made it's meant for picking random students from your lessons. So
thank you, Alice.
Yeah, thank you. We'll share a link of where you can get that, but we will. It's basically good for picking out. You can load in all your classes into it, and you can then just say, pick me a random student, and then you could ask that student a question or something.
Yeah, there's loads of other stuff she does on there, which is just like built-in things that you can actually just copy. So, so she does it for you guys. So go on and check it out. Yeah,
so we've just hijacked one of hers and put one of her class lists with just one name in it called Ready, just so that we can now do a random pick from all of the people that contributed to the competition. So we're going to get a random Twitter name now, and that Twitter name is going to be the winner of our Samsung Galaxy tablet. So,
drum roll, please.
Press the wrong button. Try again. Drum roll. There you go.
At Tommy OD.
So I think it's Tommy
O'Donnell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well done, Tommy. So
congratulations, Tommy.
Come and find us in the Learning Commons and collect your prize. Okay, so the next thing that we wanted to talk about is, well, we may as well carry on with this line, is the fact that we're going to launch another competition straight away today. So we want all of you in DHSB, sorry outside of that, but we're just going to run this as an internal competition.
Sure, you can actually, if you are outside, feel free to send us your blog posts, but unfortunately the competition is going to be kept internal.
Yeah. So what we're asking students to do is write us a blog post that will be featured on our DHSB teaching blog, and that's going to highlight your revision techniques. So we're going to post that live after this. We're going to email the whole school to announce that, and the closing date is going to be Friday the 5th of June. So we want you to write what you do for revision. If you want to look back at one of our previous Catch of the Days where we talked about different revision techniques, then you can use that as inspiration if you like. But get it in by that date, and we will pick a winner, and you will get your own Google Chromebook.
So that's like revision techniques, or you could talk about like things that you like to do. I don't know, spaces you like to be in, it, like the sort of environments you like to revise in. It could be anything to do with revision. So it's like, it's fairly open to what you're going to write about, but that's down to you guys to, and really it'd be quite nice to get a variety of things. It's always nice to have a variety of things to read about. So yeah, feel free to anything that you feel is related to revision, send it on in, and it'll be entered into the competition, guys.
Yeah. And then the last thing is another bit of promotion really, but it's for the SWAT conference. We're part of the Southwest Academic Trust, and every year a conference is organised, and it's hosted at, we said shouldn't say It's hosted at the University of Exeter. Stop saying See, it's a big problem. So
I've been counting, that's 300 now.
So it's open to anyone. You can go on to swat.education and you can register for a place. We've got our very own Dan Roberts doing a keynote speech. He's got some great things to talk about, and there's so many workshops that you can look through, and you get to pick which ones you want to go to, all about different things from one-to-one education, one-to-one technology. I'm doing a presentation on turning your traditional library into a technology-enhanced learning space. Quite a mouthful, but yeah, go on to there and register if you're interested in attending.
I mean, something that I would maybe draw on with that again for our wider audience. It's just something that it's a demonstration of stuff that you could be doing in your environment, in your local community. I mean, the Southwest, it's actually not a small space at all. So there are schools within it that will be traveling far and wide to come to it. So I don't mean in your direct community. It can be a larger sort of area. Yeah. Maybe if there's any Americans tuning in your state. I mean, it's something that you could do. You can actually take this and do your own version of it. So again, yeah, it's very valid to not just people in the Southwest, but also to the wider audience as well. So it's just sharing ideas. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, so check that out on swat.education as the website, or just Google Southwest Academic Trust and you'll find our conference. I think it's only about £20 to register. You can do it through Eventbrite, or you can do it through an invoice through your school if you prefer it that way. But yeah, go and check that out. Cool. So
cheers for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you next week.